People wearing masks? A fake virus? Americans are the bad guys? No, folks, this isn't 2020. This is 2007's classic, The Host. Welcome to Spoilers!
Oh, such an outdated reference.
Dude, honestly, this year's been such a blur. It's just melding together. I haven't even acknowledged 2021 yet. Like, in my brain, we're still rolling in 2020. But welcome, folks. This is your host, Stevie, and today we are breaking down the 2007 classic, The Host, a movie that I, quite frankly, love nearly and dearly. Well, I think we have a vote of 5 today, and let's go from eastest to westest. I want you guys to tell me, let's see, tell me who your favorite movie monster is. It could be a bad guy, it could be an actual monster, it could be an alien, I don't care. Who's your favorite movie monster?
You said east to west?
Yep.
Without thinking about it too much, I'll just say the Predator. I think he's coolest creature design, and I love the concept of him. I love his powers and everything. That's my answer. I don't want to think about it too much. Move on.
Sounds like Brett wants to think about it.
You hosted a pod on that.
I just don't want to say. I don't want to say two things.
Do you want to say two things, Brett? I'll allow it.
Does he want to say two things? Just say the two things.
Just say two things.
No, I have not thought of anything else. I'm not thinking.
It's going to weigh on your chest for the next hour.
Okay, all right. Okay, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I don't know.
That's pretty good.
Yes.
That's really good.
That's really good. Who's next?
This is Josh from Goshen, and I'm going to go with King Kong versus Godzilla. Just choose them both. I hosted that movie review, episode 240 of Spoilers. Love both of those monsters. Shout out to the squid monster that, like, those villagers are, like, chanting to as well in the beginning of that movie.
We're going to get another one of those.
Yay.
Godzilla versus King Kong.
Hope it's a lot better.
Mikey from Goshen. Just for comedy's sake, I really like Jason. I watch those movies.
He's great.
Those are really hilarious as he goes around killing a bunch of horny teenagers. Good fun.
Also, don't forget about like a movie I want to spoil at some point, which is like Jason in Manhattan. It's
we gotta
really
work through
fantastic.
The whole franchise to get to Jason in Manhattan. So,
but once you get there, though, it's a place you don't want to leave. You just kind of hope this series just stays in Manhattan.
That's the one where he's on like a ship the whole movie, even though it's called like Jason Takes Manhattan. He's like in Manhattan for like 10
I thought that
minutes.
was Jason in Space.
That's Jason X.
So that's a Big Dumb Movie classic right there. If you want to,
He fights a cyborg or something, right?
Oh, listen to the Big Dumb Movie podcast. This is Korey, by the way, recording out of Simi Valley, California. Is it my turn for the answer? You guys all said it, right?
Yeah, it's your turn.
I can't really think of one. I'm just going to pick one that I heard people talking about recently on a podcast. Jeff Goldblum as Brundlefly in The Fly.
wow.
Aww.
I just watched that like last week.
Such a gross movie.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah. And it's not so much him at the end, but like him transforming into the monster is really like the highlight of that. He's just cool and creepy, and it's very gross and
It's appalling.
yeah. That's a good one. That's mine.
It's appalling because you kind of want to have sex with him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Kind of.
He's just so
That
charming.
movie-
It's Brundlefly.
That movie like scared the shit out of me as a kid. Like, my dad let me watch way too many movies when I was a young kid for some odd reason. But when I was like 4 or 5, I like walked in and Jeff Goldblum was like ripping a biker's arm off. Like, I remember like visibly
Arm
like
wrestling.
not liking that at all. I remember his bone like popping out of his arm and Jeff Goldblum like smiling.
Which is basically what the kids in The Host witnessed down in that sewer.
Pretty much.
He's got a real fear of like arms getting chopped off.
I really
Remember
do.
his Predator comment where he's like, "Oh, I didn't know you could lose an arm as a child."
Dude, I'm telling you, there was a run of movies when I was a child. Like,
You think your
entered my
dad did this
brain.
on purpose? Like he just had like a montage?
What I think happened was I think my dad had like an innate fear of losing an arm, and so he wanted me as a young man to get over that at an early age. So I think
always
that's
leave a note.
you always leave a note.
Yeah, Arrested Development. So you never leave the door open.
God, that's funny. This is your host Stevie recording from Elkhart. My favorite movie monster, man, oh man. Well, it'd be cheesy if I said the host, 'cause I'm hosting it, whatever this creepy monster is. Have any of you guys seen the movie Slither?
No.
No, I remember people talking. It's kind of a big deal among the horror community, right? Like for like a lower level release movie. Like a lot of people love that.
It's a B movie, and who's the guy from Cliffhanger? I think it's Michael Rourke. I think it's
Michael
his name.
Rooker?
Yeah. He turns into this awesome, I can't, it's hard for me to describe, but put it this way. He kidnaps the entire town, and they're having an orgy on his skin at the end of the movie. It's amazing.
He's like a Resident Evil monster.
He's like the size of a 20 by 20 room, and he looks like a giant ball sack with the entire townspeople like moaning and like having an orgy on his skin. It's amazing.
Okay, I'm watching it just for that. Like that's a pitch, man.
I can't even like it like the way I'm describing it doesn't do it justice. You just have to see it to believe it.
Let me type that into Pornhub right now.
I think it's one of the top searches.
Stevie, how much tentacle porn is in that though?
There's like a
Not
lot
enough.
Yeah, there's like more than
I
you
mean,
would
for
think,
like
isn't
the tentacle porn community that's like listening to this right now, not enough.
there? There's never enough.
There's never enough, but there's some, but not enough. At least by today's standards. 10 years
Kinda
ago,
like
maybe. Today, not enough.
The squid that only had 9 legs instead of 10.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, Brett, start us off in this movie. Why are Americans the bad guy in this movie? What really kicks this movie off?
Because other countries are allowed to pick any bad guy they want. I don't know.
We pick Germans and Russians. Other countries pick Americans. It's a whole thing.
Because some doctor... Actually, Brittany and I couldn't figure it out. We missed it. What was wrong with the formaldehyde? Was it, like, outdated?
It had dust.
It had dust on it, and the doctor had a bigger fear of dust than poisoning the earth.
Oh, I thought he was talking about it was, like, messy. Okay. Yeah, so he dumps, 6,000 gallons of formaldehyde into the Han River?
That's a low estimate, but yeah.
And then, they over time. Actually, man, that suicide scene with the rain was actually really cool. This movie's weird because I'll say it right now. This movie was like one part like action, creepy, and then but it was like zany at the same time. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
I mean, I got the same
super
vibes
weird
when I watched Parasite for the first time, and obviously it's the same director, but yeah, there's like this like weird dark humor, right?
Yeah, it's like it's a real serious scene, then all of a sudden it turns into like an MC Escher thing where they're like, oh man, I don't know. It was just really weird. I mean, don't get me wrong, I thought it worked. But
there's one scene sandwiched in there at the beginning too that I really like, where it's 2 guys fishing, and they never like show the creature, but one of them catches in their little kid's cup like this little mutated thing with a bunch of fins on it, and it really gets the creativity flowing in your own brain when you like see a scene like that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What caught me about that scene is that the guy's pouring the stuff down the sink, and then immediately after, that's the next moment. It's people standing in the lake. So you think about that, because you know all this is going into the lake, and then you see people standing in it. And that's kind of where I thought it was going, because I had never seen this movie. I didn't know anything about it.
Well, do you think, I don't know, maybe that, well, what is that guy's job? The guy inspecting the formaldehyde, is he like working in a
mortuary? It's a
mortuary? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was going to say like maybe he's like a inside military type guy who's like purposely trying to tank this Han River or something, but...
Well, I think he was military because they're on a military base.
Yeah, they're on a military base.
Okay.
They're on a U.S. military base in South Korea.
Well, do you think it was actually formaldehyde then? Because, like, I don't know.
I think it's a good point, Mikey. I think there is something to that doctor being in a place where it's like Americans are like, yeah, let's experiment with all these chemicals way far away from the States and then like come back 20 years later and see what the fallout is.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seemed odd that he was like so insistent. Like, is there not like procedures to just like put it in a garbage safe and like safe toxic waste disposal.
That's
that
why
would be so much easier than just one by one opening all these formaldehyde bottles. It seems like intentional that he wanted to poison the river instead.
I think that's like maybe one of the least believable parts of this movie, besides the big fish monster. I mean, obviously they have to have a bad guy, but I think what Mikey's saying, it's a lot more feasible.
I think it's just a way to take like what people do to the environment in general, you know, like businesses and stuff, and just condense it into a moment.
Yeah, so, I think that was also my other.
But businesses in the U.S. military are little different sides of the coin, but that's all right though.
But not to break apart Stevie's argument about what this movie is trying to say about the U.S., I will say the most badass, arguably, character in this movie is an American who's seemingly just trying to do the right thing.
Definitely. I was saying that guy at the beginning?
Yeah, that like military man who's just like going after the monster. Kind of cool.
He's like, dude, he was amazing. He's like, we got to help them. I mean,
it was kind of laughable
when they saw the monster. But... but
that's a parody on American film, right?
I mean, that's the vibe
that
I got.
Has to be.
The Rambo of monster slayers, just
like,
going in there, guns
like
blazing.
A monster coming out, then the one American in the crowd coming out, like being like macho. Like to me, that just screamed like. I think I can't like put my finger on exactly what it was, but I think there's something there when it comes like messaging, like in this film, like versus like American films.
Well, let me give an example of what this guy does. Is he pries a tile out of the ground, or like a piece of cement or something out of the ground, and then just hammer throws it perfectly into the monster. Like, this guy is incredible.
He throws that thing 100 yards. He should be in the Olympics.
Let's see, there's 5 Americans in this movie. 4 of them are bad. You think it could be maybe just like a little bit of a peace offering for making all the other guys bad?
I mean, I think a lot of this movie is influenced by American film. I don't think you can cherry pick just that character and say this is the American film reference.
No, I don't think it was American film reference, but I think like, I mean, I can't put my finger up. I think there's something there.
Yeah, I do too.
I mean, honestly, it could have been any other South Korean character that would have done that. Like,
he did, though. The idiot did do that.
And that
he wasn't as good at it.
With the sign, like the cement above the buses is amazing. That's one of the most memorable shots I've seen probably in a while.
Which one you mean?
Where he's got like the post and he's taking it to like hammer on the monster, and it shows a row of buses, and just like comically the top cement of the sign just goes like bobbing by. He ends up like hammering the monster's tail.
Oh, that's right. That sign, by the way, it's an anti-trumpet sign. So it's like a trumpet, you know, like the horn, and then there's like an anti-sign on it.
They had a real issue with trumpets.
Absolutely no jazz in this area.
No Ryan Goslings allowed.
Oh, God. Oh. Korey, I mean, you've seen your fair share of monster movies, right?
I've seen the older ones, yeah.
Okay.
Like the Universal monster movies.
I feel like a lot of monster movies, like whether it came from the 90s, early 2000s, or today, will like prolong the reveal of like your monster, like mainly to like the 45-50 minute mark, and then go from there. Do you like how this movie showed like the monster within like the first 10 minutes?
I do like seeing the monster right away, and I was wondering how much of that we were gonna see, so it was on my mind for sure. That's because I'm trained by modern movies like the 2014 Godzilla, for example, which is really evasive about that.
It doesn't show it.
But we get to see it in broad daylight. When this
Luke
monster
Skywalker
attacks for the first time,
Force Awakens.
It's light outside.
Yeah, that's pretty rare. Never get to see that clear of a shot of the monster.
We didn't get to see the cheetah from Wonder Woman in broad daylight, I'll tell you that.
Well, that's to hide how bad the CGI is in Wonder Woman 84.
The first reveal where you really see the monster too is amazing. Another amazing shot, and it's coming from like super far in the distance. It's really blurry. So and it's coming straight up the dock, and there's like those weird steps down by the river that they're all on.
Yes.
It's a really cool scene.
Yeah, that's why I said to you, I said that, to me, that beginning scene with the monster breaking out was like an all-timer for me. It was like so much chaos. It was actually pretty freaky. The perfect emotional buttons it hit with the girl. You know, he doesn't get any credit. Everyone treats him like an idiot, and he is an idiot, but man,
Who's
he's
he,
pretty...
Brett?
Oh, I don't remember his name.
Gangdu?
Yeah, like, but he just goes. Like, he's, like, not scared of, like, when his daughter gets taken, he's, like, doesn't even hesitate. He jumps in the water. Like, people say that stuff to him all the time. It's like, if you're swimming with your significant other and, you know, a shark comes and, you know, you like to think that you'd go towards your significant other, but who knows? I mean, I would. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't be swimming out there anyway.
Not in shark waters.
He just goes, and he does that throughout the whole movie, not just in the water. I mean, he doesn't get any credit for how brave he is, but again, because he's an idiot, but he's pretty cool in this movie, if you can get over him tripping and sleeping and being an idiot.
Stevie, why is he so sleepy?
He explains it.
So, the one thing that the one thing I really like from this movie is that from our main characters, which is the Park family, you know, you have Gangdu, that you could say his one fault is that he's lazy and stupid. And then you have Namjoon, his sister. You could say that, you know, her one fault is that she waits too long to do anything. She's slow. You know, she's slow in life. She waits for things. Even, you know, she's a world champion archerist, or, you know, whatever you call that. You know, she waits on things. And then you have his brother, I think his name was Nam-il. You know, he's a heavy drinker, alcoholic, doesn't really care for his family. Then you have, like, the dad. And this is later in the movie, but I don't care if we jump around because it's a Stevie episode. I like a lot how there's 1,000 different tones in this movie.
Yeah.
But when the dad, like, atones for his sins, like, with his children sleeping on him, and he's trying to explain why his oldest son is the way he is, that part hit hard to me. I don't know about you guys. Especially when he's, like, talking about, like, the sound of a parent's heart breaking can be heard for miles, like, when they lose a child. Like, that is deep writing. Especially for, like, a monster movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I
good.
did like that part too.
Goes to show like that Gangdu had to like endure much more than his siblings did. They had maybe an easier upbringing than Gangdu had, because his dad was like kind of a dirtbag when he was growing up.
Yeah, and he was, like, talking about, even at a young age, like, Gangdu was pretty much raising himself and wasn't getting the proper nutrients, and that's, like, why he is the way he is. I thought Gangdu and his dad had a great relationship, and, I mean, it just seemed like the dad was trying extra hard now that he's older and he kind of understands what he did. I love those moments, but...
It's amazing the amount of character development is packed into the beginning of this movie, too, because he's sleeping all the time and he's, like, at the convenience store sleeping on the job. Mm-hmm. And the one thing he, like, perks up and gets awake from is he hears, or even thinks he hears, his daughter calling him from, like, the distance.
Yes.
And I just think that's a really good touch on a movie that you don't know at that point is going to be all about him trying to get her back.
Yeah, and Josh, I want to ask you this question, because you and I are pretty big Quentin Tarantino fans. And I think as far as American film directors, he does this really well. And I think this movie did it perfectly. Do you like how between every scene, you never know who the main character in any scene is going to be? It jumps around a lot.
Yeah, and I think that's especially true when the characters get separated maybe later in the movie, and you kind of think they're all dying. There's a point where you think Gangdu is the main character for most of the movie, I would say. Probably like 75%. But
yeah,
there's a point where he's kind of like taken out of the mix, and all of a sudden Nam-il, his younger brother, is like, you're like, oh, he's the guy that has to like take on the quest now.
Yeah, basically every important person in this movie has at least one fake out death.
And also some real ones, though, to balance it out. It's not like everyone lives by any means in this horror film.
For sure.
This it's kind of tragic, but I think you would appreciate this the most. How frustrated were you when Gangdu told his dad he had one bullet left, and his dad went out to shoot the monster and realized the man who gave him the gun was his idiot son?
Yeah, it's. I mean,
It's
pretty
a sad
frustrating.
scene, but it's
It
so
is very
ironic.
sad because he's really cool, and I mean, like in the horror movie formula, like who's going to die first is going to be the dad.
Mm-hmm.
Then I thought it was going to be the brother, but but yeah, no, it's frustrating, but it's like par for the course, and it also helps his redemption even more. I mean, I don't know, and he's just freaking devastated. Like, he gives himself up because he's so devastated, pretty much. So
They really take their time with that scene. He like leaves and comes back and like puts a newspaper over his dad's face.
Yeah.
This is after crying a lot. And then he leaves and comes back again just to be like arrested by the cops. I don't know. Can I rewind for a quick second, Stevie?
Go ahead.
There's a really crazy grief scene also before this. And the whole family reunites and they're grieving their niece or their daughter or their granddaughter. And it's pretty crazy depiction. Is it supposed to be over the top,
Yeah.
or is this supposed to
That's
be
what
like...
I was wondering.
Same.
I was wondering if I was missing something culturally.
yeah,
Yeah, I think
It's
it's, just these
devastating.
elements of dark comedy that, like, I think it's supposed to be that way. Like, we're supposed to understand the grief, and we're also supposed to get a little bit of humor out of it.
yeah. Brittany's like, are they supposed to be acting bad on purpose? I'm like, I don't know. They're I don't know if it's bad acting. It's definitely overacting. Sorry, Mikey. Go ahead.
The drunk brother, like at one point, just like double kicks
Yes.
the idiot brother. For no reason.
Wait, why is he the drunk brother?
Because he's a college. I mean, I'm guessing it's because he went to college and he can't get a job. Like, he just feels like a failure.
Do they show him drinking? I don't really remember that.
They
The
do.
first time you see him, he's walking in with a beer.
And his daughter even mentions, like, why'd you send Uncle to, like, Parents' Day? I could smell I could smell him from across the room.
And he's like, he's
Indeed.
drinking at this
Gotcha,
time of
gotcha.
day? Yeah.
Mikey, I feel like in a lot of Bong Joon movies, he's trying to say something politically. Did you kind of like the political angles that came from this movie? Because I feel like there was a lot to unpack as far as like political stances.
That's what I was trying to figure out the whole movie, because Parasite came out last year. That's clearly got some political themes about capitalism and
Very
Yeah, social, for sure.
social classes and stuff.
social structures, yes.
Yeah. But I couldn't, other than like the U.S. military being bad, and like the Korean government also like failing the people in many ways, I couldn't really think of or see any that like kind of really stood out, because we were just so closely following this search for Hyang So. And I don't know, maybe you guys could enlighten me, because I was like really, I know he's
I was
always,
asking you.
I know he's
I was
always trying to say
confused.
something about politics or other types of themes bigger than just what is in the plot of the movie. But other than like military bad and this government kind of sucks, I couldn't really. I don't know, maybe something with the virus, but also it's like there wasn't really a virus. If that's the twist in this movie, there's not really a virus in the first place.
I got two things out of it. I think there's a little bit of anti-America imperialism in it, and I think it's mostly played for comedy. But then
Yeah.
I think there's like the obvious environmental. It's basically like Fangorn Forest. Like, you keep chopping all these ents down, and eventually, like, the happening is going to happen. Mark Wahlberg's going to show up, and everyone's screwed. But
I just
I don't
thought if that
you
was
think
like the
there's-
main point, there would be much more to it than just the beginning scene of the American guy ordering the other guy to pour formaldehyde down the drain.
I got some background information if you want.
Please.
Okay, so apparently this film was inspired by it's just crazy, an incident in 2000 where a Korean mortician working for the U.S. military in Seoul was ordered to dump a large amount of formaldehyde down the drain.
Jesus Christ.
In addition to its environmental concerns, this caused some antagonism toward the U.S. U.S. Military stationed in South Korea is portrayed as uncaring for the effects their activities have on locals. I don't think it's you have to be smart to get the Agent Yellow as a reference to Agent Orange, and then also it's kind of like it's just like a satire. But his actual quote is, "It's a stretch to simplify The Host as an anti-American film, but there is certainly a metaphor and political commentary about the U.S."
Okay.
The thing about the Agent Yellow thing, though, I was like, I don't know what that cloud thing is doing. Is it supposed to take care of the monster?
I thought that was a mistake. I thought that was one of the few mistakes. I don't think they explained that very well.
I thought it was just like tacked on and kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I think because it looked cool. Also, by the way, just to make it extra funny, is guess what country loved this movie? North Korea. which it says is a rarity for a South Korean blockbuster film, but they loved it because of its critical to the United States.
Really?
Yeah. Also,
Do they get to watch movies over there?
Yeah, I doubt it. I bet it's not North Korea. I bet it's the North Korean people. But to laugh at what you said, Mikey, it does say it's satirical towards the South Korean government as well as bureaucratic, inept, and essentially uncaring as well. So, yeah, you pretty much. It didn't seem like it's super heavy, but I think you nailed the two. U.S. bad, South Korea dumb, and then everything else is kind of more important than that.
Well, congrats to Stevie for liking the same movie that Kim Jong-un likes. Like,
Dude,
that's a feather in your
I can
cap.
say
Il
that
might have been
dude
alive
was-
back then too, so he really loved it probably.
I'm just saying, Kim Jong-il was a movie buff. That dude knew his stuff.
True,
All
but he
right?
was so Ronry.
Oh
If-
God!
Check
Inevitably.
his litter box. 4.5 stars.
Stevie, for as much as we're talking about these wide scope, big issues that are tackled here, I honestly think there's a bigger one that we're not touching on.
Environmentalism, homelessness.
No, you're a new father. There's like a very clear like yin and yang of fatherhood here, and like learning from mistakes that we end on, even, right?
Yeah. I mean, so this movie, there's definitely environmental factors where it comes to like what stood out to me was we're destroying our planet, and look, what we create will kill our children, which is kind of like a metaphor I took from this movie. Also, with the fact that like the people like of South Korea's first instinct was to throw their trash at this monster.
Yeah,
Like-
that was weird.
It made it stronger.
Like there's definitely something there, but like that's an aspect of the character of like Kang-do I enjoyed was, he may have been like not the most successful career person or the smartest person, but like that dude loved his daughter. And as like a new father to like a daughter, I connected with that right away.
Even more specifically in the writing, there's like a big part of Gandu's dad's guilt is that he didn't properly nourish him when he was a child.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like devastating for him to think back on. And the movie ends with a scene of Gandu. He has his shit together. He doesn't have his hair dyed Justin Timberlake anymore. And he's like got this huge meal laid out for his adopted son. And I just like connecting those two things, I think is pretty touching.
Josh, I think you're missing the most important thing Stevie said. He said since he's a new father, he loves his daughter more than you love yours. So I think that's what I heard him say.
I'm glad you caught that, Brett. I am trying to really grandstand here and get that across to Josh.
I ignore that. That's like as stupid as Brett claiming Drew Rockland as his best friend, as he often does on this pod. It's just ridiculous. Outlandish.
Don't besmirch Gang-do. He offers his daughter a beer in the opening 5 minutes, okay? So
Dude, he tells her, "You're in junior high, have at it, champ." And he slaps her on the shoulder.
if that's not nourishment, I don't know.
I mean, Drew is a best friend, but whatever.
Okay, but moving on, kind of want to ask Korey this question, because this movie jumps around so much. We get to know our characters really well. Do you like how this movie also like kind of lets us get to know like our actual monster and its lair and how it operates? Because it spends a lot of time in that lair, and it doesn't have to.
Yeah, I do. And I was reminded of a movie by the same director that I saw before this one, even though it came out after chronologically, which is Snowpiercer.
Yes.
Just by like how good he is at making things look disgusting and dirty. Like he has this way of making environments just seem so unpleasant and gross. And that's the vibe you get in this sewer system. But I think what you were getting at is the monster does have this like layer where he stores his food, which is people. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they're dead, sometimes they're just passed out, but that's where he just kind of drops them. And when we find out the daughter's alive, we get to see her in there and her like, ways to cope to survive. Like sometimes she plays dead when the monster comes around. Sometimes she hides in a little hole. She eventually tries to like fashion a rope ladder and swing it up and escape.
Yeah.
There's also like a 45-minute fake out where you kind of think the monster doesn't necessarily kill or eat humans, but maybe just kind of naively keeps them as pets. And I thought that was pretty cool that it's like just barfing up bones. Like, nope, it eats them.
Yeah. I was like, oh, maybe he just like plays with them, or because I was like trying to figure out what. I still don't know what the title means. The host, like, what does that?
I think it means that the monster was presumed to be the host of this supposed virus that was going around. Am I getting that correctly?
He was the host of the daughter in his lair.
Yeah.
Oh, like he hosted her.
He's a very bad host.
Like,
He's a terrible host.
Forgive me, I'm being a terrible host. Have a drink.
I feel like you're right.
You know
Korey,
what?
by the
Don't.
way.
Sorry, Brett.
No,
go
no,
ahead.
I love what you said. I think I didn't like that. Did we really need that storyline, do you think?
What's that?
The beast ceased. I mean, I guess you have to have a reason for them to chase, I guess, the main characters. I mean, it could have been a movie about them searching to find the daughter without having the... And then I guess it wouldn't be a political satire, so I guess never mind.
I like the stakes that it adds, personally. She gets almost eaten a couple times while she's in there. One time actually eaten, so... I think, it's good to see, like, is she still hanging on? What's going on in there?
Yeah.
What is she eating? She's down there for quite a while.
I don't think she's
Water.
eating. I don't
She's
think
just
she's
drinking
eating.
water.
Yeah, I don't think she's eating.
This sequence actually, the sequence of her being in that lair, because it jumps back a lot. Actually, it's one of my favorite shots of the movie, and that's when she's trying to jump off the beast to her like shirt ladder or her shirt rope, and like the camera just like stops, and like you instantly know what happens. But I think the really smart thing about that sequence is how long she takes to move, because I think she realizes like what's going to happen here shortly, like the visual terror of what's going through her mind, and also the little boy that she's bonding with. I thought was just brilliant.
I do have, like, are we supposed to think that the formaldehyde made this creature, like, have sentient more and have, like, a conscience? Because it, like, plays a game of, like, chicken with the girl, and it seems to have a personality when it should just be, like, a mutated fish with just a bigger fish brain. I don't know. Am I making sense at all?
I think it is really smart. I don't think it cares about her. I think there's that scene where it has her in its tail and just sets her down. And I think it's supposed to be like he's asleep and just kind of like
Leave me alone.
If like a fly was like in your face while you're sleeping, you just kind of lazily like slap at it or something.
I see that. I hate that.
Or you can put shaving cream in someone's hand while they're sleeping and tickle their nose with a feather.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what you guys did in college?
Josh, did you do that?
No, we did. They put knives and silverware in my bed instead.
And then tickled him with a feather.
And then nailed a piece of pizza to the top of my wall.
What?
Yeah, they nailed a piece of pizza to the top of my, like, 14 feet up in the air.
Okay, I need to
It
know
wasn't
why.
they. It was
Put the
me.
movie on hold.
It was you.
I'm the tallest. I'm 6'4". I stepped up on the couch, and Brett had left this pizza in my room for a couple days. This is like second or third time he had done
probably
that.
let you
and I
have
was
some.
like, I'm going to show this guy a lesson. So
I see. I like
some-
Brett's innocent side. Like, someone just nailed pizza to my wall. No explanation needed.
No, he's making it up. It's like, I probably put it right next to his 19 empty bags of popcorn with orange slice peels in them. He left those all over the house.
He had pretty high
That is
ceilings.
Definitely a long bro.
Yeah, He'd
Guys,
sit there and he'd peel an orange and eat popcorn and eat an orange. It was so weird. That was like his go-to snack. Of course, it's like the poorest
first of all,
snack.
edit point. Second of all, we had high ceilings, like 9 or 10 feet. And so it's hilarious. He didn't have any like posters on that wall. You just walk in and way up on the wall is just perfect slice of pepperoni, Papa John's.
Like a cross, like something he worships. Like
He meditates upon it.
I mean,
pizza god.
he had some other
How
hijinks.
long
But,
was it up there?
oh, it wasn't up there very long, I don't think, but who knows?
3 months.
Maybe. I was pretty bad in college like that, so maybe.
Listen, there's some more stories we could get into, but let's save it for later spoilers.
Oh my god. Oh, Josh, you get behind the camera and help with film sometimes in your job, right?
Oh, yeah.
I never noticed this. I just learned this yesterday while watching this movie and also doing some research. Do you do this? I never realized this, that cinematographers and directors will like pretty much hose down like entire like concrete like sidewalks and streets because like wet concrete and wet asphalt looks so much better on film. And this movie has a mountain of it. I never realized they do this.
If he's not spraying down the asphalt, he's just straight up having like 1 inch of standing water on it, or like 25 inches or 25 feet of standing water. There's one scene in particular where the sister, Park? No.
Namjoon.
The sister, Namju, she's like hiding from the police and like, I don't know how to describe it. It's a really cool like cinematic shot, and her head is just barely above the water, and she's like under this concrete like little curb, and cops are like looking out over the water, and it's just so gross all the time. And like, yeah, even down in like the lair and the kids that are just like hanging out with those dead bodies and sewage and bones, they're so disgusting looking by the end. It's kind of grimy, and that seems to be something this director does, like Korey said.
Yeah,
that's a cool trick though. I've never sprayed down cement before, but I should do that.
You
That's
should
a good
start
idea.
doing it.
Yes.
You'll get a raise.
Give this man a raise. He sprayed down the cement.
Yeah, everybody's just constantly in wet clothes, and it just like gives me the heebie-jeebies thinking about being on set all day, just constantly sitting in wet clothes, waiting until it's your time to do your scene. It's like, ugh, all day.
That's how I feel about mud on film. I gag. It's hard for me to look at movies where people are covered in mud. Like Raising Arizona.
Predator?
It's terrifying.
Predator.
That's clay. That's different. I'm talking like actual just hillbilly mud. It freaks me out. But, Mikey, now that like all of our main characters are converging towards the end, I feel like a million things happen. The one thing I actually enjoyed that like this writing actually did you think this was cheesy, having like the sister that couldn't fire an arrow in the beginning like be the one that fires an arrow at the end?
No, I thought it was like incredibly badass, because I was like, oh, the drunk brother just fucked that up so bad by dropping the last Molotov he had. I was like, oh, what are they gonna do? But yeah, she doesn't hesitate, and then she gets a flaming arrow, and then just like, cool guys don't look at explosions when they walk away, and fires it right at this monster.
She shows up in her Robert Pattinson tracksuit.
Oh,
Because, yeah, she makes multiple missteps along the way with the arrow. She's either taking way too long or knocked down when she's in the sewer. She doesn't get her shot off and gets, like, knocked out and tossed into the sewer. And she kind of gets her redemption at the end there, which is cool. And they get a ton of help from the guy the brother was hanging out with drunk underneath the bridge, who had just happened to pour gasoline all over the monster at that point.
that dude was the real hero of this movie.
The hobo?
The hobo that broke a bottle over the brother's head and then just poured gasoline over that monster. Real hero of this movie.
Ooh, was that another alcoholism like reference when he smashes the bottle over his head? Is that like rock bottom? Get it?
I don't know. These movie alcoholics are something else, man. It doesn't hinder their life or ability to do things really in any way. Like,
he couldn't throw the bottle, Korey. What do you want?
Why did he hit a pillar every
time?
Like, if you're playing Call of Duty and you have 6 cocktails, like, you're gonna get booted from the game.
I'm not for anarchy or anything, but for some odd reason, I think slow motion throwing of Molotov cocktails just looks beautiful on screen. Is anybody else with me? It's like blood on snow. Something about it on screen just looks strikingly awesome.
oh yeah.
It was always my favorite like weapon in the GTA series. It's just so fun.
The flamethrower?
No, the Molotov cocktails, just flat out.
And this is like the best chance we have to like, well, I don't know. We get to see the monster pretty well, but we get some like real close-ups of the monster. And for being an older movie, I think it looks pretty good up until, I don't know, maybe like the very last scene where Gong-do kind of stabs it with the pole. I don't know. It looks not great there, but we get to see it running away from all those Molotovs, and it's like, oh, that looks pretty good.
Yeah, that's definitely the weakest CGI moment. When the monster's passed out, we get like a puppet version of it, like a practical version. We know when he's opening its jaws, like that part is great.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this, though. For being a 2007 movie, this movie still looks better than Wonder Woman 1984, which we will spoil at some point. I promise. But one of the things I kind of want to touch upon, too, is kind of a technical aspect. The camera work, I thought, was incredibly well done, especially when you have tracking shots that will just periodically zoom chaotically on the monster or back. I thought were really neat and were really good for pacing. Instead of keeping the monster at a constant distance, I feel like the camera zooms were really necessary. But Korey, we really don't get the ending that most movies will give you, especially with the daughter dying, and you don't really get the brother and sister reconnecting, or the brothers and sisters reconnecting with each other. What do you make of this ending? Kind of just, do you think it was out of place, or did you like the way this movie ended?
Well, I did like the way it ended, but I had a little bit of confusion with the Agent Yellow. Now, I believe what they say in the movie about Agent Yellow is that it eradicates all biological life.
You die.
Now, they're all in this thing. They're all having a fucking party in this thing, so I guess that's not actually true, because we get 2 survivors. Our main guy, Gong-do, or Do?
Gong-do.
Gong-do, and not his daughter, because she dies right at the beginning of the climactic action scene. So instead of her having like a slow death at the end, it's at the beginning of this, action beat. But the kid that she was stuck with survives, and Gong-do takes him in, and I don't know, it is kind of a nice thing to see, like that's the way it ended. I didn't expect it to end that way. And I'm just glad, I guess, that anyone was able to survive that shit. I mean, he survived a lobotomy earlier, which we didn't really talk about.
Well,
I think that's what it was, right?
I mean, if it was lobotomy, there's 0% chance that he's functioning afterwards. But they did drill into his brain,
or at least into his skull.
A lobotomy is when you cut the cortex in between left and right, I believe.
Look, I'm not a doctor. They were cutting at his brain, all right?
I know you guys were talking about one of the worst CGI moments with the monster kind of getting stabbed in the mouth, but I thought one of the best happens during the part that Korey was just describing, where he pulls his daughter out of the monster's like mouth rectum, like it's like anal sphincter mouth bunghole thing. It looks pretty gross and cool.
I thought that was just practical.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's why it looked cool.
Okay.
It looked pretty cozy in there.
I mean, I didn't mean to like about the CGI in general. Just like how the monster looks throughout the film is what I was referencing. Sorry.
Also, the real monster in this movie is that dude's eye that is just throwing me for a loop.
Weird.
like the entire time.
We kept saying, like, what are we looking at here?
Yeah.
Like, where are we looking?
Also, it was hard for me to take him seriously when his eye was just wandering to holy hell and he's being sarcastic with Gandu.
You mean the American guy?
Yeah, that dude. Right? He's like, why didn't you go to the authorities? And his eye is just...
he was crazy.
I was looking at the entire time. I couldn't take my eye off it.
Everyone else thought you were talking about how the monster's
Same,
eyes look crazy,
definitely.
Stevie.
Oh, my bad. I meant the real monster was that the American's eye that was being sarcastic with Gandu. My bad.
The monster's eyes have more cataracts than King Theoden under Wormtongue's control.
Definitely.
Check out our Lord of the Rings series.
He was like the one playing chess or whatever in Silence of the Lambs, right?
Yeah, I'm looking him up right now.
Yeah.
He's a Snowpiercer. That's about. He's in The Host.
I'll say this about the ending. Even though it's not like your typical hero ending, I will say that for some odd reason, I think it's really visually pleasing to see that small stand, like with the backdrop of the city and snow just falling. I thought, like, it left me feeling happy, even though it wasn't the happiest ending.
In my mind, his siblings are alive, and realistically, like, they're not all four going to be living in that place. So, like, in my mind, they get together during the holidays, and him and his new son work at that shop and go to school and try to scrape out a life.
I don't know, man. It looks like the holiday season to me.
It's Christmas.
Wait, are you saying that they're dead? I didn't get that.
I didn't
vibe.
either.
I'm not saying they're
died.
dead, but like I think in like other film directors or writers would have put like all of them together at the end, like and put a song like "This Will Be" at the very end, and they were kind of dancing around.
Yeah.
That's a very mid 2000s thing to do.
It would have ended like Snakes on a Plane, like they all go surfing. Like,
You've seen that movie?
Who hasn't seen Snakes on a Plane?
come on, bro.
I haven't. I have a question. What was he expecting at the end with the gun?
Which gun?
Like he's at the end with the snow, and he's got the gun pointed out, expecting something. Is he just
I think it was the government.
okay?
I thought it was another monster.
That's what I thought at first, but then I'm like, well, there's never any proof or, facts that there was another one, but, maybe his feelings told him there was.
To get back to Brett, though, you've never seen Snakes on a Plane?
I'm tired of these. No, I have not.
I
saw.
Are you gonna watch it?
No, go ahead and spoil it for me. It's okay.
Kenan Thompson lands a plane, not being a pilot, but because he plays a video game where you fly planes.
I think I've seen that part.
I kid you not.
Oh my
That
gosh.
is peak cinema.
There is a skit he does in SNL. It's hilarious where he spent some time in Scotland or something like that, and he comes and tries to translate, and he grabs a wheel and goes, nope, and then leaves. So I'm wondering if that's a parody of that. I'll send you guys a clip. It's hilarious. It's James McAvoy.
Are we going to get a Kenan Thompson revival period? Like, is Quentin Tarantino going to put him in something like gritty and tough?
He's gonna
No,
win
he's
an
going to be
Oscar,
in a
dude.
Safdie Brothers movie.
Revival. He's been on SNL for like 20
20
years
years
now. He's never stopped.
And before
Didn't he
that,
set
he was
the
on
record?
All That, which is like
He's
kid
got the record by
SNL.
a lot, Stevie.
Yeah, Mikey,
Yeah.
we all know the goal of every movie star is to be on SNL forever. He's really hit it.
Well, think about how genius he is, because how many SNL stars have like that big of movie careers?
Yeah.
No, and I think I love him. I think he's freaking hilarious.
I think he's awesome. So he's been playing 4D chess, saying, "I'm not leaving."
I don't know. Joe Piscopo was in Sidekicks.
Joe
Yes, he
Piscopo
was.
was in Sidekicks.
He's also in a movie that me and Josh's best friend Drew love called Johnny Dangerously.
Deep
Yep,
cut.
and
I've
Brock
already
Sandage.
I asked Drew, I said, if we do Johnny Dangerously, will you be on it? He goes, absolutely.
Is that like Johnny English, but more dangerous?
It's like an 80s parody of those type of movies. So it's got Michael Keaton. It's apparently really funny. So
I get your guys' point, though. SNL people don't go on to make movies very often. Like Sandler, Hader,
it's definitely hit or miss. But
Will
Hader
Ferrell, or Chris Farley.
Okay. Chevy Chase, Bill Murray, Adam
Kate
Sandler.
McKinney.
I'm just saying the man is consistent.
I like him, okay? I'm not trying to shit on him. I like him.
It sounds like you were trying to shit on him, Josh.
Camille.
I saw Good Burger in theaters. I love the man.
I said I want him to have a revival. I'm just being realistic. I'm rooting
He never
for
went
him.
away,
How
but did
can
anybody
you
else
revive something that never went away?
He never went away. But did anybody else have the Good Burger like orange VHS cassette?
Yeah. I had a few orange VHS Nickelodeon cassettes.
And I'm not gonna lie, when I was younger, I thought Good Burger was peak like cinema. I thought that was the funniest film ever made.
I never watched any of that stuff. My God, Kel drives me absolutely crazy.
Missing out on Mondo Burger, Brett.
Why? Because he loves orange soda so much?
Right to the grinder for you.
No, his
Brett.
voice in that show. I didn't watch the show. I didn't watch that. I didn't watch all that. I didn't watch any of that stuff because I was sophisticated. Brittany's making fun of me. I didn't even hear what she said.
Before we get back to the host, though, I'm just gonna say, Good Burger had Carmen Electra, Shaquille O'Neal, and Sinbad in one movie.
I love Sinbad.
Brett was watching Three Ninjas. Didn't have time
Amen.
for anything else.
Amen.
Man, I'm trying to like resist the urge to do a synopsis of this Keenan and Kel episode, but I'm just gonna.
No, do.
No, not well. Since you asked,
Yes, please.
Come on, man.
Please. You got me in the mood. We gotta do this now.
One episode where Kel is like gonna get this like $2 million lawsuit because this can of tuna he had a screw in it,
Oh, yeah.
and he's just about to like win and get allotted the money, and he has a breakdown and has to admit that he put the screw in the tuna. And I never realized how sexual that was till adulthood.
Josh, did he hurt himself with the screw?
Nobody could have
Because
died.
case law, Hagen versus the Coca-Cola bottling company, the tuna company would not probably have been in fault unless he was hurt.
What the fuck?
No, it's
Bird
literally the
Bird
only
law,
thing.
Brett?
It's literally the only thing I remember from my business law class.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm just the best damn expert in bird law you've ever seen.
Oh, Brett has a keen interest in the Royal McPoyles. But
Yes.
before we get into our yes or no's, does anybody have anything else from this movie you want to add?
The scene where our lead man, the dad, Gong-do, is about to get his head drilled in. It's a very long take, and it's like very emotional and scary because you can kind of feel his pain. His arms are restricted, no mobility whatsoever. He's in a completely prone position with this huge thing on his head, like a drill about to go into his fucking forehead, and he's begging them to not do it. And it's a very long take, and it just reminds me of like A Clockwork Orange.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
Like watching the lead in that movie with his eyes like pried open. I don't know. I thought that was a very like powerful moment, and the floor is like a very striking red. So it's like, I don't know. That's a pretty strong scene, I think.
To piggyback on that, again, give him credit for him getting out of there. And did anybody else laugh when he left that super serious place where he was getting his head drilled in and go out and they're freaking grilling sausages?
Dude, I did laugh.
And he even
I
said
was like,
something like, what are you
fuck?
doing, munching? What's he say? Like, you snacking or?
Feasting.
He's like, I'm suffering there, you motherfuckers are eating lunch.
But if you think about it, that's so realistic, though, isn't it, Brett? Because of
True.
course people are just going to be eating doggers and drinking beer out there.
Yeah, but you expect it to be like another, corridor. He's got, 8 more minutes left before he gets out. No, he's right there. They're all just eating and having a good time.
Barbecuing.
That's so funny.
I'll offer a little bit of criticism here at the very, very end in a very wonderful movie, and that's there's these 3 shots, maybe 4 that I counted, that they put into slow motion, and it doesn't look like the shutter speed was high enough to actually do slow motion, so you get like this jittery effect. And I just wondered if that was like a mistake that they just wanted to keep, or if that, like, I wonder if, I guess my question is, I wonder if the director was doing this over again, if Bong Joon-ho was doing this again, would he like include those shots, or is that something like now that he has bigger budgets, he can do better? You know what I mean?
You don't think it was a choice?
That's what I wonder. I really don't think so. Did that stick out to anybody else? Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
I don't notice that kind of stuff.
Say it again, Josh. Which shot are you talking about?
Okay, there's 3 shots that I wrote down. One is when the brother is like reading the map and it goes down to slow motion and it's like jittery. There's another one where she's hanging by the clothes rope.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And then there's another one where the little kid is like being shown to be alive at the end, and then he ends up being the son, like the adopted son. But that stuck out to me just as almost like a camera error. But
I'll say this, Josh. I know you're a long brother, but when did you really get into film?
College?
That is like. Those kind of slow motion, jittery, like kind of off-putting shots are so of its time. Like
of 2003, you think?
From like 2003, like honestly,
of television. It reminds me of television.
From like
more
2000 to 2010, like that's super common.
I believe that.
The jittery is, I don't know, I never knew about the slow motion, like the Jason Bourne camera.
Like that's like super, super common. Like you can honestly check that through a lot. I mean,
so. Do you want me to speak technically as a camera operator? It's like a problem of lighting. So if you're going, the more slow-mo you're going, the more light you need. Mm-hmm. But you can also adjust your light intake with your shutter. But if that's too low, you don't have like enough footage per second to trick your eye. So you get like that jittery effect. Like it's not 24 frames a second anymore. If that makes sense at all. Sorry if that's boring.
Frames per second. Big gamer. Gotta get at least 60 frames per second.
But I think you're right. Maybe just the tech in the early 2000s like was in this in-between like digital phase where like that ended up coming out a lot.
Also,
I got a couple other small notes. If you want to go first, Stevie, that's fine.
I was just going to say that like kind of piggyback off of like when they're grilling out when Gangdoo's getting lobotomized. I'm sure it would have cost a fortune to clear, but I think if the song Ants Marching was playing by Dave Matthews Band, it would have made the most perfect like exit possible.
Or like
you
Kid
just
Rock.
gone like you just gone from something so serious getting lobotomized to hearing fucking Dave Matthews harmonica playing and people eating hot dogs. I think it would have made for such a jarring moment. But I imagine Dave Matthews will cost films a fortune to clear. But go ahead, Korey.
Not too long into the movie, like, I don't know, 30 minutes in or something, the whole family is captured because they were at the site where the monster first came out, and anyone that was in contact was taken in. When they escape that facility, it reminds me of like a Guy Ritchie movie because it's, well, one thing is like the music is very uniquely different in that scene. It sounds like something that would be on the Snatch soundtrack. But also
jams.
like they're so like bumbling about like the way they escape this facility and they somehow pull it off.
It's so slow.
Like, they're just kind of like pushing people out of the way, tripping. Like it shouldn't go right, but it does.
That parking garage where the turn is so sharp, they can only go like 6 miles an hour. So that cop that's like running is slowly catching up to them. It's almost
like just pushes his face.
I'll say that I really enjoyed the scenes where we're like, it's like super close up on, there's like a couple of shots like this, but it's like a super close up shot of like the father and then the monster is kind of like slowly chasing towards the camera before it like knocks them out. I think that looks pretty cool. Or like, it's not close up, but like the monster is way down the pier and knocking people off into the water. Just, I like that kind of stuff. And then it goes like immediately into a tracking shot along that pier and stuff. There's a lot of really cool tracking shots and just kind of continuous shots in this movie that, for a smaller budget movie, that's pretty hard to do. So it's really good directing on his part.
I was really hoping the first guy that got like flung 200 feet in the air and hit water, I'm hoping his origin story is that he's a scumbag, because if he's like a really nice dude, that's a horrible way to go. Like, you're just enjoying a sunny day on the pier and a giant fish monster throws you like way too high to hit water and not be paralyzed for the rest of your life. I'm hoping he was a dirtbag. But for yes or no's, let's go Weesis to Easis. I think, Korey, that means we start with you.
Okay. Yes, this is Korey. I'm going to give this a yes, but before I go into that, at some point in this podcast, I really wanted to fit in a joke about how they live in a van down by the river, and I never had the chance.
I mentioned Chris Farley a minute ago.
Fuck.
Take the chance. Take the shot.
Take the shot.
This is a really good movie. This movie is a lot of genres, which normally maybe I wouldn't like in a lesser film, but it executes it very well. There's a lot to like about this movie. It's exciting, it's scary, it has some weird dark humor, so it has elements of comedy in there, and it's just a gripping film. Like it's very engaging. It's not a boring movie. It's fun. I like it a lot.
Very cool. Josh?
Sure, I'll go. This is a real solid yes. This is a great movie. I had never seen it before, and I didn't read anything about it before I watched it, so it was a surprise to me that it ended up being a creature feature, and it's just so fun. One of the biggest compliments I can give this movie is I think you could probably chunk any given 10 or 15 minutes segment out of it, and it would be like a killer short film. Like there's enough context kind of in every scene to like you could jump in and jump out at any point and learn something or get something out of it. Stevie thinks I have a problem with subtitles. I don't. I love this. I just don't turn them on for every movie by rule like Stevie does, and I thought that was crazy when I first heard that. But yeah, huge yes. And there's a few little plot holes, like the guy that commits suicide by jumping off a bridge. I'm pretty sure the main character jumps off that same bridge later in the movie and just like dives right in. And like the whole Agent Yellow thing, just like killing off about 10% of the living organisms in its like perimeter, but it doesn't really detract much. It's a great, grimy, fun film.
I'll give it a solid yes. As far as monster movie goes, it's pretty great. It's got a lot of really cool. There's for a monster movie, most of them don't have as much action as this one does, and this is a pretty low budget movie. So it's cool to see how far they go with the effects and stuff like that. And yeah, I just like all of the characters in the family. I like that Bong Joon-ho continually tries to utilize the main guy who plays the dad. His name is Kang-ho in real life. He's the dad in Parasite. I like when directors use actors that they're really familiar with and they like a lot. And he's a really good actor. He always plays like a drunk guy, which I love. That kind of being your character trait. I don't really have anything bad to say about it. It did make me want to eat ramen while I was watching it, so I stopped and made some ramen because they're like constantly eating shitty Asian food since they own that little like Quickie Mart thing in the middle of the park. So it's really fun to see, and yeah, it's a good movie. I've never seen it before, and glad I finally got around to watching it.
Mikey, just to touch on like how he always plays a drunk guy, like drinking in South Korea is a big part of their culture. Like when it comes to like doing business or like nights out, like
drinks,
like they like a lot of like their I'm going to say a lot of it, but there's a pretty big part of their culture that involves heavy drinking.
Is it just Korea? Or is that every culture?
I'm just saying, I think South Koreans could drink a lot of Americans under the table. That's all I'm saying.
It seems like it was more of like all day kind of thing, because he's like firing up a beer in the middle of his work shift, offering a beer to his daughter, all that kind of stuff. And it seems like he would be cracking open a cold one with the boys any chance he could get.
Yeah. Brett?
Well, Steve, you obviously haven't seen Beer Fest. We are the best drinkers.
According to that documentary.
Yeah, documentary, yes, for sure. Yeah, this is a solid yes for me. I thought the creature design looked really good for the time. I mean, I still think it looks good now. There's actually an episode of Family Guy, I don't know if you've seen it, where someone wishes for a mermaid, and it's like the woman, it's like the bottom half is the woman, the top half's the fish. It reminded me of that. And he's like, why would you want the bottom half to be fish? We can't have sex that way. Never mind. Which is genius if you think about it. The only thing that bugs me, like early on, I said, well, this thing's going to be really easy to kill. Is there going to be more? And Brittany's like, or maybe it just gets really big. It didn't. It neither. This would have been the easiest monster in movie history to kill. But they literally didn't even try. I mean, like, I know they're worried about some fake virus, but tell me this wouldn't have been the easiest monster to kill.
In America.
Yeah, I mean, our military...
In America, all the people at the lake would have pulled out their guns.
I mean, yeah, like you get like 10 neighbors from the Ozarks. They'd had this thing done in an hour.
Definitely. But, yeah, no, I like this movie. Again, it was part serious, part zany. I think the scene that Korey brought up is really powerful when he's just like, he's frustrated the whole movie because he keeps saying, no one will listen to me, no one will listen to me. Then he's finally to the point where he can't do anything. He's tied up. They're about to drill into his head, and he's just begging them, crying. It's really good acting, and I wish the girl didn't die at the end. I'm starting to realize that if I want a truly happy ending, I can't watch any of this guy's movies. But it's pretty good, so definitely a solid yes for me.
That's a great point, Brett.
Pan's Labyrinth style.
His endings.
Yeah, I mean, they're almost like they're little bits of happiness. By the way, I think this movie could have shaved maybe 10 or 15 minutes off, but it's just splitting hairs at this point.
Dang.
Yes, Stevie. I'll give this movie a hard yes. One trope that I enjoy that a lot of filmmakers use, Wes Anderson is one that comes to mind, is characters that have one flaw and they overcome them throughout a film. Like outstanding flaw. I enjoy that a lot. Also, Josh kind of touched on it, how a lot of this could just be short films, like 15-minute short films, and they would be amazing. Like the micro adventures that Bong Joon-ho connects throughout this movie is just incredible to tell a narrative. It's a lot of fun. The camera work's incredible. CGI looks great for its time. I think it still looks really cool today. And yeah, it's just a really, really hard yes for me. I think it's my second favorite movie from him behind Parasite. But yeah, definite hard yes. Y'all ready for some trivia?
That's where my head went to.
Yeah.
We are.
Y'all ready for this? My man with a plan, Pappy, is not here tonight. Does anybody have the order?
Ooh.
Is there an order
Josh
even?
is second in charge.
It's been like years since we've recorded.
Should we start a new order?
You can do whatever order you
The
want.
first order?
What kind of game is it? Does it matter?
Closest to.
I don't think this combination's ever happened, by the way, right?
New
Just
spoilers
this combination? I don't think it ever has.
No, no way.
I think this is the first time.
Let's start moving backwards
I
in
got
time.
it. I hosted last on
Snowman.
The Snowman. Before that was Brett
Me.
on The Predator.
Pappy with
Before
Witness.
that was Pappy, not here.
All right, you're going. You go ahead.
Jordan, not here.
Stigma.
Mikey did The Mist.
Yeah.
So
And-
George goes
and
last.
Josh has advantage.
Holy crap! It's been since Ace Ventura, maybe.
September.
Okay.
Yeah.
September. What year is it?
What year is it?
I just watched that movie 2 days ago. Oh, it's still hilarious. Okay. So, one of my favorite books of all time is a monster book. Kind of. It's Ernest Hemingway's Old Man and the Sea, which an old man fights a marlin until he nearly dies and no one ever gives him credit, and the marlin's half eaten away. Anyway, I'm asking you guys on rod and reel, how much did the largest marlin ever
No.
caught
No.
weigh? This
4
is
billion
right up
pounds.
Josh's alley. For those who don't know, I did a how much did an animal weigh one time, and Josh gave me an answer that was so outlandish, my wife, 2 rooms away, was bursting out laughing. So, remember, this is caught on a rod and reel.
Forgot she never made
As
a
opposed
mistake.
to what?
I don't know. A harpoon? I'm not sure.
Sorry, Mr. Perfect.
Like, do you mean like a person reeled it in
Yes,
with like
a
their own
person
strength?
reeled it in.
I think it was the guy from that one movie you did with the weird... Never mind.
McConaughey?
Yeah.
Oh God, that movie's
Oh, Serenity?
Yeah.
What a great movie.
It was good.
What a fantastic movie.
All right. So, Corey's first and me.
Yeah. Yep,
Oof.
that's it.
Fuck.
A lot of pressure on you, Corey, to not say something
I don't know that
stupid.
much about fishing, but like, if the person's like huge, I'm just trying to think like this. He's a giant fish.
It's a marlin!
I don't know anything. I don't even know what a marlin looks like. 200 pounds. That's my answer.
200 pounds!
I don't know if that's overshooting it or undershooting it. To be honest, I have no idea.
Gosh dang it. Oh, man. God, marlins are big game fish, man. Oh, but I don't
Right,
want to
what's
say
the largest
something
fish you
stupid.
ever caught?
Not much. I mean, my brother caught a big catfish once, but I definitely didn't. No, I don't know. Small. This marlin, I would say 500 pounds.
500 pounds. I think that means Mikey is next.
Let me think like Josh here for a minute. How much does a small Fiat weigh? I'm gonna go 525.
525 pounds.
Stevie,
George,
when you asked me way back when in the gray,
it's one of my favorite episodes, by the
you
way.
asked
Well
me
done.
what was it? What's the biggest wolf ever found in the
Ever
wild?
hunted.
Ever hunted? What
Yeah.
what answer did I give you? What comical answer did I give you?
I think you said like 12 to 1,400 pounds. It was a ridiculous answer. And I don't think you realize that like a wolf is like the size of a dog.
Yeah, like a big dog.
Yeah, like
You know what?
But they're dense. They're so very dense.
Fuck you guys. 1,200.
let's go. 1,200 pounds.
I would have just added 1 to the next
Nope.
guy, but that's fine.
I want to
too.
get that. I want to win with that answer. Maybe.
And retail price is a Pacific blue marlin was caught in 1970 out of Oahu, Hawaii, chartered by Corrine C.
It's going to be like 50
Skippered by-
pounds.
skippered by Cornelius Choi. This is often referred to as Choi's monster. This bad boy
That's what the ladies called it.
weighed in at a whopping 1,805
Wow.
pounds.
Oh, should have known.
George, after, what was that, 3 years ago, I think, has finally redeemed
Oh
himself.
my God. Are you serious?
That was
Now we can never reference that again.
the single longest long play redemption I think this podcast has ever had. So awesome.
Oh my gosh.
That's as big.
so
That's like as big as an average great white, man. That's crazy.
That marlin was a big motherfucker. Okay. Josh, do you want us to take a break? Kick it over to Spoiler Man, or are you ready to tell us what movie you're going to be hosting next?
Can we take a quick break, please?
Can I kick it away to Spoiler Man?
Do it.
Take it away, Spoiler Man.
Special thank you to our patrons, Nick, Druid King, Brother Brian. If you would like to help Spoilers continue to make podcasts, please consider going to patreon.com/spoilerspodcast. Spoilers is now available on Audible.
Welcome back. Josh has redeemed himself after 3 years ago saying the most embarrassing trivia answer you can give, so I will never bring that up again. You redeemed yourself, Josh.
Yeah, right.
Josh, what are we gonna be spoiling next?
Even after that extended commercial break, my heart is still pounding in my chest over the excitement of this victory.
So excited.
I don't know. I was gonna pick something from Jim Carrey's Renaissance. We love talking about Renaissances tonight, but I was thinking about The Mask, Dumb and Dumber. Those all came out of the same year as Ace Ventura. I was thinking about Ace Ventura 2, but you know what? On this pace, I only get to pick like 2 movies a year, and I've had this movie on my list for a long time. It's called, well, it's a movie that takes place in the time period Stevie was talking about earlier on the pod, that 2003 to 2010 era.
Thank God it's not The Majestic. Let's go.
But I guarantee you there's not going to be any of that low shutter speed bullcrap. This is a Coen Brothers movie from 2009. It's called A Serious Man, and I can't wait to watch it and talk about it with you guys.
Such a good movie. That's awesome, Josh. Good for you. Good pick. I thought you were going to pick Eternal Sunshine at first.
Nah, not yet.
Talking about Jim Carrey and Renaissance in 2003, 2010. I'm like, oh, it's Eternal Sunshine. And then...
So one side of the coin was The Mask, and the other side of the coin was a Coen's Brother movie.
Also thought about Jamie Kennedy's The Mask 2.
Gosh, Son of the Mask?
Which only did wonders for his career.
No.
Son of the Mask?
Son of the Mask, yeah.
Son of Mask. But
Hey, Stevie, let me
Big dumb movie pick
go ahead and make that quick announcement.
okay, yeah.
All right, so I don't know if this was made on air. Was this made on air, this bet?
Probably was.
Okay, so Stevie just randomly out of nowhere threw down this gauntlet of his... I had started an Instagram page for my dog Dozer, my bulldog, and he's like, I'm about to get a pug. I bet you... the original bet was a month away from spoilers, and I said, how about let's just do a punishment movie? So yeah, so we did a bet on Instagram that his page, whatever, would make more than mine. I ended up with close to 1,000, and Stevie never made his, so he lost the bet. And since I know that he loves the animated movie Pinocchio and he thinks it's the best thing they've ever done, I picked the 2002 Roberto Benigni movie, Pinocchio, for him to do, because I think it'd be hilarious. Just to give you the Metascore on that is 11. The Cobbler for the Pixels for Adam Sandler is only a 27. So we're talking really, really low.
I saw it in theaters after Christmas at Encore Theater.
And I can't wait to hear him talk about it, because I mean it's apparently, I mean, he literally just won an Oscar a few years earlier and his career was over after this movie.
That's why he got to make this movie.
Yes.
This was his passion project. This is going to be fun.
If you look at the trailer, I mean, it looks like they make it look like it's the most fun movie. If you think you've seen Pinocchio, you have never seen it until you... I'm like, oh my gosh.
This Christmas.
Stevie, you know what's weird about spoilers right now?
What's that?
We don't have, like, we have 2 punishment movies, like what Brett's talking about, that we need to record. We haven't recorded them yet. Right now, as we're recording this, our Lord of the Rings series is, like, airing back to back to back to back to back. But we don't have any episodes in the can. So this is
That's
like...
a first.
It's weird.
That means I probably have to do Pinocchio soon so we can get stuff in the can?
Oh, I was going to say no rush on this, but if that's what you guys want to do...
Does that mean people need to subscribe to the Patreon to get us to release more episodes?
How will they do that, Josh?
I think it's just patreon.com/spoilers podcast. And I really hope I said that right.
It's also on our Facebook page. You can check that. But yeah.
Also, shout out to Nick, our newest Patreon subscriber.
Are we supposed to say his full name? Is that bleeped out?
You can bleep it out if you want, but Patreon subscriber Nick, you're the first one. Congrats. We will not let you down. But...
I checked today, by the way. We now have a total of 3 as of today.
No way.
Get out of town. We got another one?
Did you get a chance? My brother said he was going to subscribe. But I don't know if that's the one.
Oh, Mother of God.
Congrats to our moms for
Yeah.
signing up for
Well, actually, the funny thing is, like, I told my mom to listen to my podcast like years ago. She hasn't listened to one episode. She said her favorite episode was Castaway, and we never recorded a Castaway episode that like we released. That was a practice run. She said it was her favorite one. That was
So,
like a
like,
year
episode
into the
0?
podcast. Yeah, that was a 3-minute blurb from episode 0.
My sister has listened to a couple, but she listens to superhero ones, and she said PK cusses too much, so she doesn't listen anymore.
Whoa.
Oh, she'd hate me.
No, you didn't, dude. You do not cuss like PK does. No, you do not.
This isn't on the hijack. This is just regular on air. What's going on right now?
PK's. It's my sister. What does she care? She's BK. Actually, she's married.
Brett's
so it's
wife
not
is
BK
yelling
anymore.
at him in the background.
Do the damn dishes.
Oh, well, thanks for listening. This is one of the most interesting episodes I think I've ever done. Thank you for listening if you're still there. Subscribe to our Patreon. Leave us a message on iTunes. Let us know how we're doing. Send us an email. Get in touch with us. Hit us up on Instagram. It's so much fun. Thanks for listening. That was Spoilers.
Love you, PK. Stevie, should I bring up like
Holy shit, boys.
your punishment thing?
Oh, please, at the very end. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, let's talk about
But-
movies down the pipe.
Yeah, we'll
By
do
the
that
way-
when I kick it to
by the
Josh
way-
for movies down the pipeline.
Real quick, Mikey's
Mikey's
not
out.
here. So hopefully he has his recording, but
Yep. I got the hijack going.
Hey, Korey,
Yeah,
congrats, man. I'm looking at your Facebook. I think you're the least white person on this pod. Congrats, bro.
yeah, thank you. Thank you. I have
It's
so much
it's close,
so much
but-
to be. What do they say in South Park? Like I'm the most oppressed.
Oh, yeah. You have the highest intersectionality score. I don't know. But yeah, it's impressive, man. You got a lot in there.
Man, my heart is
You got some
pounded right
African-
now. I'm
Just pick a
pumped.
movie I love, Josh. Please stop picking movies I love that they're going to hate.
It's the best spoilers content.
It really is.
Josh promised his next pick at the end of his last pick.
Huh?
Remember, you said you're doing Ace Ventura so that we can do Ace Ventura when nature calls.
I don't love that movie as much, so... But yeah, that's freaking hilarious. So,
Or so that we can do Dumb and Dumber and The Mask. All
Oh.
movies from that year.
Yes, please pick a movie I've seen a lot. It'll really make my life easier. Fucking Mikey. Shit.
The largest marlin not landed by rod and reel. I think this thing was caught by a giant net. Weighed in at a whopping, I think, 4,500 pounds.
Holy crap.
dude, that's like as big as the biggest great white. That's insane.
Dude, I thought it was going to be in the hundreds. Like a couple 100 pounds.
I actually thought it was going to be pretty big. I just did not want to be the guy that guessed way too big.
Yeah.
I didn't think it'd be that big,
I had
but-
to worry about that too.
This this 4,500 pound blue marlin was not taken by rod and reel. Alrighty.
Yeah, Mikey said he thinks his computer crashed.
We got the hijack. You ready, George?
Let's give Mikey a quick second.
Okay.
And I need a quick more second.
I
too.
feel bad for you, Korey. You had a 40% chance of hosting next time, and you didn't win.
I know. I was telling my wife before this, I was like, oh, I might win trivia tonight. There's a lot less people. Well, less people anyway. That's all right.
Yeah, plus me. I was gonna, I owe you one. So
1,805 fucking pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing's like as big as 3 people. Like tall. It's massive.
gonna say, if you know 3 people that weigh 1,800 pounds, you need to have a talk with them.
Jeebus. Yeah, the largest great white ever landed was 2,600 pounds.
Unreal. Yeah, but I mean, they can be way bigger than that.
Yeah.
I think Mikey's back on Skype, so I'm trying to add him.
Add him up.
I don't even know how you would edit just
Hey,
one
Mikey.
track from the hijack.
Oh boy.
seems like a lot
It
of
takes a
work.
long time.
Mikey, were you able to recover files?
It does not look like it.
Just go to open your Audacity and go to recently or like recent whatever. You should be able to find it. It's happened to me a few times.
Here, hold on.
Is there a place where Audacity throws like autosaves or anything like that?
Josh, it hasn't been updated since 2007, so
Well, while it's running, it puts information in your temp directory in Windows. But Mikey uses Mac, I think, right?
I use Mac
So I
too.
don't know what the equivalent is on Mac.
I thought Macs weren't supposed to crash.
They're not supposed to get viruses.
Okay.
They're supposed to be perfect in every way.
Just like my baby brother.
Or
Who won? Did you guys say?
oh, Josh won.
Ah, fuck, Josh. God.
He redeemed himself.
1,805 pounds.
I don't know. I'm not seeing it. Oh, I don't know what happened. It just like totally locked up, and then
Will it probably be called like Untitled or something?
My recent files section only has like things that I've actually saved, but I've never come back from a crash like that.
Yeah, same. All right, so should he just record in Audacity now?
Yeah.
Sometimes when you open up Audacity, it just brings that back up. Like it brings up like, hey, you quit in the middle of a session. Do you want to continue it? And you're like, yes.
Did you see any prompts like that?
All right,
Mikey?
are we going? Because I'm going to pee if we're not recording in like a minute. Oh, wait. I mean, we're almost done. All right.
You can go pee.
All right.
So when you first opened it, did it give you something that like obstructed your view and said there was a crash, restore, or give you some options, anything like that?
no, I just kind of like restarted from the beginning.
I see. Just like how when you would open it on any given day.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, that sucks.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that. That was weird.
Stevie, the hijack looks to be intact.
The hijack? Yeah, still running.
Okay. All right. Let's just...
Josh, you can pull a single track out of the hijack. What do? Silence everything around it?
No, you can't. You just have to...
You have to line it up and then delete everything around it. It's hard.
And sometimes, like, you have to like, kind of just let conversations bleed over the top of each other.
Doing that for a whole podcast, that probably takes hours, right? Of editing?
Yep, especially as this time rolls on. Happy volunteered to edit this already.
Well, this middle part's can all get cut out.
Any luck?
It might be
Any
thrown
luck?
on at the end.
Yeah, let's record. No luck, but let's record.
Okay.
Mikey, you should record separately here if you
Wait,
can.
were we supposed to stop?
No.
No.
All right, you want me to just start then?
Yep.
Ready.
Stevie,
Are we going, or am I doing like a 3, 2, 1 go?
you just go whenever.
Oh, okay.
That was Spoilers.